Okay. I'm going to just do a brief introduction again on what this is and what it's not, and then we'll actually get into it. What this is, it's not certified FileMaker training. I've been through that, and it's excellent. And what it is it teaches you the nuts and bolts and how to do it. What this is this is how to implement it. And I hate to say this, I started with FileMaker back in '89. So after 30 some years, I've learned a lot of tricks of how to implement it efficiently and pretty quickly. So that's what this is all about. By the way, for people who do not know it, these sessions are recorded and up on our YouTube channel, thanks to Ron and Jonathan. So you can go back and take a look at this and all the other sessions. So what we're talking about is building a FileMaker core. I call FileMaker 101. And so what is a core? It's a base file that you use to build on. And a lot of people start off by just taking a sample file or a clone of an existing file and then making some changes to make it work the way they want. But then you have stuff you don't need, and you can end up with some unexpected results. So I prefer to start with an empty file that just has the base items in it that you'll need to build a solution on. And building on this foundation, it makes it easy, and you can make a totally customized solution fairly quickly. Don't get me wrong, I'm probably one of the better cut and paste software developers because I do it pretty fast. But when I do it, all my solutions then have the same base structure. And with features and functions, I build them modularly so they're easy to insert. Modules such as, barcodes, creation and scanning, reports, form processing, orders, products, and invoicing, I can drop in and, work very, very quickly. I launch on the average of one new solution every single week. And I couldn't do this if I had to build from scratch each solution. So from experience, I found cloning a file and then making changes can cause problems for me. So it's just a Band-Aid approach, and I avoid it at all costs. That's also why I hate to work building on someone else's solution. I think all of us have been there sometimes. So for me, a core is a base solution consisting of tables, fields, layouts, scripts, custom functions, relationships, and value lists. So it's not empty, but it's a foundation file, and therefore you can rapidly build it. So what are we going to do? Through these series of online FileMaker 101 sessions that we're trying to do online, we're going to build together a basic core file. I don't expect anybody to use the core. If you want to, that's fine. But what it is to use as a concept for you to build one for your own use. That way you can do things the way you want. The key here is to start your core, then continually build upon it, keeping it modular. Today's goal. Okay, now we're getting nuts and bolts. Today's goal is to complete the basic setup that we started in the previous two sessions. And so by the end of today's sessions, we should have access to the actual core file online that you can actually access. That's where our goal is. For this first part, we'll take a break at after 1 hour, but the first part will complete the build out of the initial structure we started. We ended up right at the end, but it wasn't complete, so that the login did not work. So we'll finish that up. We'll develop a user log file, and we'll build out a homepage layout, and then we'll work on some basic navigation. So that's where we're going to start today on part 3. So let me flip over and open up the file. And now I need to get here. So how do we, okay. Okay, do you see the screen?
Sure do.
Okay. I'm doing it by, I don't know if it's the whole screen or just a section. We'll see what happens. Okay, so here's the basic landing page of when it starts. In order to get it open up again, I actually had to finish it so we could get to this part because it wouldn't open. But so we'll back up here a little bit. Okay. So what we're going to take a look at, this may have been the wrong way of doing this. I don't know. This is the layout for the login. What happens is you've got your buttons here, and behind this is a script. And what's fun about this script is it is the same script for all the buttons, except for your back and your clear. And the way it works is, for those that haven't done it before, if you notice, it has a script parameter. And in this case, it's a 1. So if I look at the other ones, it's exactly the same script, but it has a script parameter of 2. So all it's doing is it's telling it. Now, how does this work? Because this actually works off the keyboard. And that key is up here under a script trigger. When it first enters this layout, it switches over to a keystroke. And this works when you're with your client. And so therefore, when it pops open, quickly ease your keyboard and works out well. I'll show you that script if I can get to it. Here we go, login keystroke. Login keystroke. What it does is it tells it to actually look at the keystroke of your keyboard. And I've got to thank Jonathan on this one. He helped me find the back key. It was sort of hidden.
Alan, I think you're sharing one window at a time instead of the full screen, so we're only seeing the.
Okay, let me. How do we switch this?
May have to unshare. Stop.
Yeah, let me unshare and share again and do the full screen.
There we go.
Now you can see all of it. Okay.
Now we can see it.
Thanks for the heads up. Okay.
No problem.
I can't see what I'm doing. I guess I only have 4 screens open. I guess I should have another computer, a 5th one, to see what you guys are seeing. Okay. So then what happens is this sets this keystroke, lets you use the actual keyboard instead of actually typing it in, which works out really easy. Browse. So I can just use my keyboard to do the same type of thing. This clears it, and this backs it up one place. So again, I try to build everything intuitively. When someone sees this, they pretty well pick it up pretty quick. I've also built some security into it. If you notice, up here there's a 1. If I try and enter it again, doesn't like that one. Doesn't like that. If I try it the 4th time, it actually says you tried too many times and it shuts down. This is not high-end security, but it's just base level security that, again, it's just part of the initial core. It just works out well. And so I don't kill that. We'll get back in. Okay. Now, what's happening behind the scenes is there is a counter that's actually counting the number of digits. Once it meets the correct number of digits, it then actually runs the opening script. And that's the start here. And so in this case, on my global table, I've got it set up so that it's set up for 6 characters. So as soon as it meets that threshold, it then runs through the actual system of going through it. What's important about this, the way it's being set up, is all of the different levels of access privileges based upon the security that you set up is set up here. Where this works out, if you notice, I set this up here in the corner. It shows who I am, what level, what access level as a developer, and what I call access level. I have 1 through 9. By doing that, I can actually turn off on and off these buttons over here by saying access level. If it's less than 8, disappears. For example, let's log back out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is a 7. Try it. 3, 2, 1. Yeah, that's a manager. So he doesn't have some of the access levels yet. Real easy to do. You can also use that for some of the main buttons here to help control navigation. One of the things in building a solution where you don't have to have a manual to use it is it should be intuitive. If you can hide things that don't apply to them, it makes it real easy. And by doing this type of thing right from the get-go, it makes it a lot easier to work with, because then you know actually who's in the system. Which gets us over to user list. Everybody has to have some type of access level to get into the system. And if you see here, this is where it says the pin level is set to 6. In my file setup, I can change that, and on the fly, we can change it to a different number. Trick is there, remember that you've changed it before you do that. But the other part is if you see this little I here, I can also take a look at the access of that person as they logged in and out. So a total of 43 minutes for this particular level. Now, if you notice, developer is not in here though. Since I make these solutions available and I really try and teach my clients to use it so that if they at 2 o'clock in the morning want to make a change, they don't call me. But yet I don't want them to have full access level to start making changes to scripts and fields and that type of stuff. So full developer is not on it, yet I have to have access. So I believe in keeping things simple. So what I did is I just hide it. The developer level, whenever you do a find or anything else, it automatically hides anything regarding the developer level. The only way you see it is you have to hit Command J, show all. So if I look at my name, boom, it's not there. Just makes it real, again, trying to keep it simple. The other thing is if I go back in and the admin person can look at this, if you notice, they don't see the login file. So again, by controlling the access level, I can control what shows, what does not show. The other thing is like deleting. Quite often I'll hide the delete button. Only the admin person can delete things. But as you can see, by having a login system like this, it makes it real easy to go in and out, changing different levels and that type of stuff and testing. I went through this pretty fast because we really spent a lot of time building it last time. Is there some questions before we actually get into now how we'll build the logging system? Okay, let's go into logging. I don't think I want to do that. There we go. This Zoom screen sits at the top, and I can't get rid of it. So I don't, oh, there it is. Okay, there we go. Here are the different tables that we've got. Right now, I only have 3 tables. The core table, the user, and the user log. I already put user log into this, and it's pretty straightforward. You've got user to user log. I'm a firm believer of the boy system. It works out well for me, keeps it simple. But and the way it's tied together is it's using the user ID on that system. Okay. I'll show you how by building a core file like this works when you're trying to add something to it. Let's see. What we're going to attempt to do is add contacts. Okay. Now, for those of you that are not aware, you can be running more than one copy of FileMaker. If you ever tried to do that and cut and paste from some fields from one to another, you can't do it. It won't let you do that. However, if you have 2 different versions, you can. So I've got an older version. This is running 18. I've got an older version sitting here on 17, which is compatible. That'll let me cut and paste. If I can get to it. There we go. Layout. I should probably show that. This is my master core file that we'll be building from. Shows the different tables. It has more. So I'll go to the contact one and I'll copy it. I'll go over here to the one that we're building. And I'll paste it. Just like that. So all my fields are in it. Everything's all set and ready to go. Now what I need to do is I need to do 2 things, and then I will go to my other file again. Copy. Have to make this 76. So here's my a basic core file. When I drop these in modularly, it tells me what also the other things I have to do to make this actually blend into the core file that I'm building with. What I normally like to do is I include a zip code file, so that when you type in a zip code, it automatically populates it through. But first thing we have to do is let's go ahead and tie it in. Contact. GL to GL is now tied into the system. All of a sudden now it's part of my structure. It shows that I've got to build some additional contact levels in here. And so we'll go ahead and add those in. Database. I want to do layouts. Look at layout. And I pretty much build everything with the same, so I can make this fast. And I think these are all to make us 30. So now, if I go back over to here, and I go to my contact list, copy. My layout set. Same for detail. We haven't done this yet, so I'll move this off the screen. The only thing that happens is this gets slid down here, so we'll move it up. Okay. Now, over the years, a few years back, FileMaker introduced a new way of being able to handle I call it, I forget the technical term for it. I call it navigation within the file. So let's see. Go back over here to get. This is where you can actually navigate within the system. And what did I do wrong? Oh, I know what I did. Yeah. Yeah. So there's all my fields. This makes it easy because you can just press a button and it immediately goes to it. Right now, we don't have any fields in it, but we'll do in a minute. The other thing I want to do is I want to add the zip code file to this. Manage database. And so again, I go back over here to manage layouts, manage to file. Core zip, copy. Paste. Relationships. Whenever FileMaker adds a table, it always adds its own dummy one. And that's the one where always have to change its theme. I haven't figured out how to get the default to always do what I want, but I'm working on that one. 76. I'll go back over here to my core file, my zip list. Oh, copy. Yeah. And I want to add another layout. Come on, new layout. And it's going to be core zip list. Again, 976. And I think this may be different because zip code is a fairly large file. I think I may have made it smaller. So I'll take a look at yeah, that's 30. Okay. And here was 125. Okay. $125. So what size is this? Oh, 40. Okay. I lost my other file. That's one I'm copying from. Close down on me. Okay, so I need to edit. Need to go to core zip list. That was 30. Okay. Copy. Browse. So here we have the file. The difference here is I'm going to import the records to this. And matching files. So let's take a little bit, give us a chance to talk. So I've sort of flown through this. Questions? Everybody's quiet. There's the reason this takes a little bit for the import on this, even though it's on a local file, is the fact that it is doing some calculating. I download this and the zip file once a quarter from a subscription service so that it is fairly current. It's about 80,000 records. Let's see. While I was doing that, I can show you some of the other core components.
What is that? What's the service you use to get the updated zip code file?
There's a number of them. I don't remember. Zipwise or something, I think, like that. It's fairly inexpensive. It's like if you do it quarterly, it's like $15.
Yeah.
For 80,000 records, it's not that much. And it does let me use it through cross. I do date it so that they don't change all that much. So I don't run around and change all the ones I've installed just when I need to do it.
Yeah.
Really didn't need to install all this. Thought it would be faster, but oh well. Let's see. But this gives you a sort of an outline of the different layouts that I'm working on. Core manage, come on.
So I do the same thing that you do, as far as I keep a couple of different versions of FileMaker installed. So like if I need to copy fields, like you demonstrated with 17 and 18, and I keep 18 on my desktop so I could do that same thing. But since lately, all the updates have been just increasing like 19. They're not, like you can't do 19.1 and 19.4 in two separate installs.
No, it's got to be different versions.
Right.
You got to have a whole version different. And now what's interesting as they're moving up, that's why I'm always at least one version behind. So I build in 18. I test in 19 before I launch, but I build in 18 so that I can go either 17 or 19 on both sides without too much of a problem. This latest one, 19.4, there's been a few things that they've deprecated. They've told us about they're going to, and so I've got to always make sure I test for those things.
Yeah, but they're going to be doing less actual version changes in the future, aren't they? Just like for 19, we've been on 19 for a while now, and instead of going to version 20, they just kind of keep going 19 point. So
yeah. So, but hopefully they'll still. What's going to hurt is once 19 doesn't support like 18. I mean, I don't know when they'll do that. We've run into some problems recently with some clients that have bought new iPads, and their servers are running 17. Well, FileMaker Go is not available only in 19, and it won't open up 17.
Yeah.
And so they just make sure we keep upgrading.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's just stop this. There'll be plenty of files in here. Okay. If you notice that this appeared, and I don't know how to make it default, but I always have to go back in and under my layout setup and turn it on so all my lines browse. And the other is go back over here and put my header with the bottom line. The body is top and bottom, and footer top. Boom. So there's the file. And if you're good, so you can see how it works. Now, what's nice about that is hopefully we've got, So now if we go into the file and actually tie the two together, so we've got contact, we've got zip, but now we have to build And here's my contact zip. And here it is the zip code to the zip code. Now, to make it so that you can actually do a drop down and search, do another little trick over here in new, and we'll copy this. Come on. File manage value lists. Copy. I'll paste it. What this does, it's letting you, when you put in a zip code, it'll automatically put the city in there. But in some cities, your zip code may actually have more than one city by preference. So it lets you do that. Now we do one more thing, and under manage databases, fields, contact. If I go into address, I've got to make it active again, because when I dropped it in, that was not in there. And that should take care of that. And if I go into my layout, I think I've got more than one copy. Do. There we go. Browse. Now I do have to do in my city is on my drop down, I've got to define it. It's a city. Okay. Let's see. Add another button. Where's the plus sign? There we go. And if I've done this one right, now what I want to change that slightly. And on that new, And by putting in that variable, what it's going to do is it's going to ask them for their zip code. Then it's going to create a new record, and it's actually going to set it. And by committing it, it should populate it over. Theoretically, let's see how well we did. Browse. Okay. New contact. Oh, what's your zip code? 40207. Populates it as that. But if you notice here, I can also pick out other ones that may want to apply. This makes it real easy. And the other is by doing that, and we need to work on our tab order layout. So that you can go through it. Again, if you notice, I do yellow backgrounds so that you know which one you're on. Again, it's giving visual cues to the people that are filling it out. And by putting in a, you notice I'll put an extra space in there, but as soon as I hit enter, it actually corrects it. And that's with using a custom function. And so there's a space below. That's why. So those are just little things that makes it easier to work with. If you notice, if I drop out Kentucky in here, you know, it does get rid of the comma. Those are all just little things that I've built over the years just to make it, you know, look professional. You put in a phone number. It does format it. And now the way that happens is in your custom functions. Format phone is valid. Is the email valid? Those are type of things you build right in here. These are the default custom functions I put in my foundation. Gives my dates, before, after, between. So for parsing, one thing a lot of people don't have to worry about, but I do all the time, is time zone adjustment. I work in multiple time zones, and so in my opening file, in my setup, I have got to define what time zone the client wants it in. So now if we go back to our navigation, go back to home, this is undefined. If you notice, you click this. Early on, I learned a real important, valuable lesson. One is whenever I put a button in, very first thing I do is I have a nav null button. So if I put it in, I immediately put it as null until I put it in. If you've got a copying software, the worst thing you can do is have a button that it doesn't work. At least, you know, then I have to go back and, oh, did I remember to do that? So I always put that in. Right now, we'll make this go to the contact list. Change it to the contact list. Now, what I have to do is, what I made a mistake on is these. I had contact list. I duplicated these. Want to get rid of that one. I don't know which one we're using. Got to get rid of one of these. Trying to talk and do this at the same time is. See what that is. I think this is contact full open. Yeah. So this one we get rid of. Okay. So now I have to go in on my scripts and make sure I got those tied in correctly. Yeah, go to contact list. Oh, we haven't done the detail that done yet. And then document detail. Contact detail. Contact number. We'll hide that for a minute. Save. Okay. Get back to home. Now I can define this. Which is really this one. You notice when I hover over it, it turns colors, click on it. And why did it give me that error? Oh, it's going to be in this sort. When I switched the layouts, I didn't change the sort. Just a good FYI, never sort by calculation. Takes it twice as long. Layout. And here the footer should be top. The body should be top and bottom lines. And the header is bottom. Now it looks right. Go back over here, contact list. Boom, there we are. And let's see, this should then take me into the detail. Yeah. Takes the detail type of things. So there we built something pretty quick. Now, what I wanted to show you is we can change this to go, take that back, browse, it's in the other one. Layout. In this script, go to contact list, we can change the format. Hide that one, make the other invisible. Now it's going to go to the contact bar. What this is this solution. And layout. Yeah. So contact. Now, if you notice, it puts the abbreviation on it. So if I hit this, it takes me, aha. What happened to my nav bar? I might have to do some hunting on this one. I bet you I broke it when I switched them. I can move this. And that's the first letter. Jumps right to it. So if you have a big long list, you can immediately jump through it real quick. You notice I made that is the same script behind every single one of those buttons. The only difference again is the script parameter. So it runs a script and it runs it, which makes it easy. So I made a mistake, was able to fix it pretty quick. Again, our problem here is the tab order. Clear all. And okay. Why is it not? Oh, that one's top. Browse. Oh. Screwed up on that one. What it should be is left. That when you're actually in focus, it needs to be yellow. Say this, during sound browse. So why are they? Oh, they should be. Yep. So again, so navigation now works. Okay, sort of flying through this. Contact list. We did zip codes. We did that. And trying to think where I want to take this next. You notice here's my setup page. Again, here I can change this, my login, that's where I change it, I can solution name. If you notice down here though, these are locked. Those are set before the file is uploaded to the server. And this is my minimal security system so that if the client does try and change it, it won't open. This is as the number of users, it does have a limit on. If you try to put in more than 11 users, it'll say, you've got too many people, so that it helps keep everything the way it's supposed to be. Everything I build has expiration date on it, so that they can't be cloned and used up. It does have a date of expiration on it, and as it gets closer, if you notice layout, the word expired will appear. When all of a sudden it still functions, so it's not locking the client out, but on the other hand, it turns off certain things, the PDF generator, those type of things behind the scenes, so that it's not a life or death situation, but becomes aggravation. And the longer it's expired, the bigger the font changes on that. These are things that the customer can change, drop those in. This is the image, logo image, which is really only used in one place, and that's on the login page in the corner, because you can't really have a home button there. They haven't logged in yet. The other is this is the access for web that can be used. I would just build it right into it. So in fact, it's functioning now. So this is what we've been building. If you notice, it just comes to a welcome page with nothing on it, because I've set it to be that way. Whereas if I hit this one, which says it's to staff, it changes a different script. And I haven't enabled it yet. Probably have to take a look at that script. Oh no, I know what it is. This is a trick. It took me a long time to learn. In order to get a script to run so that you can do something different, you have to go actually into your security, into advanced settings. And it is in extended privileges. It's down over here. You've got to tell it to let them do that. So now, theoretically, if I hit that, bingo. So this is actually the web version of what we've just been building. So, and this is that place I told you that it is the only place it shows up is that one locked file. Now,
so Alan, is that calling a script through Webdirect?
Yes.
A FileMaker script through Webdirect and passing it a parameter?
Yeah, so what it is so it's going to Webdirect, and then saying at the end says, use a script called staff. So then in the script called staff, which is underneath here, it says, you go to the opening page, and then it switches to the pin.
Okay.
Whereas the regular one, file startup, looks almost the same. The difference is it goes to the welcome page. If you're on Webdirect, which is System Platform 4. If I'm using client, it's going to go to login pin.
Mhm.
So that's really it's a very subtle difference, but it makes all the difference in night and day between what you want to do. I've built up some where there's multiples of these. They send out a reservation for a specific event, and it actually then runs a script. It actually looks up that event because they hold hundreds of them, but they only want the customer to see the one that they've signed up for.
Right.
So boom, that way you can do it. Now, if you need security, you have to do something, because you don't want to pass a username password in here. That's why I have it landing on the pin. So now they have to enter it in.
Yeah.
But it's a real slick trick that took me forever to figure out how to do, but now that I do it, I use it all the time.
Yeah. And that requires the file to have a default login, correct? If it didn't have a default login account.
Correct. Well, but most of the time, well, it would be whatever you'd want for your public one. It's got to have the same access as this.
Yeah.
But to go beyond that, that's why you want it to either have some type of credentials or do something a little bit different. Yeah. Okay, I've got 1 o'clock. I need to take at least a 3-minute water break. And then we'll end part 3 here, and then we'll try and tackle part 4.
All right.
Okay.